I would like to thank the veterans of foreign wars for the opportunity to be here today. I would also like to thank all of you for being present. Today has been designated by the United States Senate as Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Day. To those who served during that tumultuous time, I say, welcome home. It was on March 30th, 1973, 42 years ago, that the last U.S. troops withdrew from Vietnam. There were no ticker tape parades honoring the returning servicemen, no triumphant marches or speeches, as there had been at the end of each of the world wars. America's Vietnam veterans returned home to silence, or worse, in some cases, to hostility for having served their country during a controversial war. Our servicemen and women served honorably and bravely in Vietnam. Unfortunately, they arrived home to a country in political turmoil and never received the recognition that their patriotism deserved. Following the American withdrawal, the days drifted into months, the months into years, and those who served were left to seek solace in the camaraderie of fellow service personnel. Vietnam was a war unlike any other in our nation's history, both in the manner in which it was fought and the acrimony it received at home. The end was marked by a nation's desire to forget. During World War II, servicemen saw an average of 28 to 30 days in combat. During Vietnam, the average amount was closer to 200 days. In addition to the more intense combat schedule, the health of serving personnel was further endangered due to exposure to herbicides commonly referred to as Agent Orange. The agency, which was tasked with providing health care and readjustment assistance, varied in its response to the veterans from indifference to downright hostility. The Vietnam veterans were constantly forced to fight for the help that veterans of other wars were freely given. I remember helping a veteran with his PTSD claim. He told me about how, when he got out during the 1960s, he went to a VA facility in South Dakota seeking medical care for a knee injury he had sustained in Vietnam. The healthcare provider told him and the other veterans that he, the provider, was not going to treat any Vietnam vets and to get the hell out. The veteran and I worked together on his claim. We collected documents and reconstructed his military service in Vietnam. Finally, we secured a satisfactory resolution to his PTSD claim, a claim which he had fought with the VA for over 6 years. It took over 30 years after the end of the war and the constant hammering from the veteran community for the VA to finally change the criteria required to document service-connected PTSD. Vietnam is a war where the last casualties have not yet been accounted for. Troops serving in Vietnam were inundated with the defoliant Agent Orange. Like PTSD, the veterans have had to fight for years to gain some recognition of the health problems and the exposure issues related to Agent Orange. The VA has conceded issues where they have been forced and stonewalled others. Today's ceremony marks the 4th Welcome Home Vietnam Veterans Ceremony. It comes 40 years after the last American troops left Vietnam. To those who served during that difficult time, I say welcome home. Recognition of your honorable and patriotic service is long overdue. To honor the fallen from our cities, a memorial was dedicated over in the park across the street. It was severely damaged by vandals, and you can see that there's been an attempt to repair it. There is residual damage after the repair attempt the Veterans of Foreign Wars is leading an effort to replace the memorial with a more permanent structure, but they need your help and your donations. To keep the memory of these servicemen alive, named on the memorial, the Veterans of Foreign Wars is in the process of adding information about each of these servicemen on its Facebook page. I would like to conclude by quoting George Washington, who said, "The willingness with which young people are likely to serve in any war, no matter how justified, shall be directly proportional to how they perceive the veterans of early wars were treated and appreciated by our nation. It is imperative that the service of the Vietnam veterans be recognized for its honor and patriotism, and that measures be taken to make sure it never happens to another generation." Again, I say to those who served in the Vietnam War, welcome home, and thank you for your service.